Another season, another humiliation ritual from FC Barcelona in the Champions League as they fall out 3-2 on aggregate to Atletico Madrid as Paris Saint-Germain book their place into the semifinals in pursuit of back-to-back Champions Leagues. If you guys are returning members, welcome back. If you're new members, welcome. If you're interested in the content and you like what you're seeing, make sure you like the comments, like the video, subscribe. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I can't do it without your help. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing, it's free. Let's get right back into the video. I had already recorded this video, but I watched it back and I realized this cannot see the internet. There was a lot of shouting. There was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of name calling. And yeah, so this is take two of what you're seeing. First things first, Barcelona came into this after the back of falling 2-0 down in the first leg after a pretty comfortable performance in the first leg before Pau Cubarsí completely threw away the entire tie by getting himself sent off in the most ridiculous manner conceivable. And then from there was an uphill task, especially after Julian Alvarez scores the free kick and Sorloth puts the dagger in the second half. But coming into the second leg, we had feelings of a remontada, the word that's been spoken in the dressing room every single year. Ultimately, I never believed we'd make the comeback, and ultimately we haven't made the comeback. But you do have to give the players a lot of credit for the fight that they showed tonight. And one player in particular, Lamine Yamal, who came out and put his entire reputation on the line. The posts on social media, the press conferences. Lamine Yamal, the best player in the world, went out there and did his very best to bring his club into the semifinals of the Champions League. And this is a player who will do the talk, but he will also walk the walk. Whether it's the chance he created for Fermin today, the chance he created for Olmo today, dribbling past players on players on players to create shooting angles, create chances for his teammates, creating chances for Ferran Torres, scoring the goal in the first 5 minutes of the game to really build the momentum. And you knew Barcelona needed an early goal today. Lamine Yamal was the illustration of everything we needed tonight. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in the end, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. And I really have to give credit to Lamine Yamal. I've spoken about his footballing ability so many times on this channel, and you guys have probably heard it so many times on other channels and other platforms on the internet. But I think what Lamine Yamal represents for this football club for me is much more than just what he does on the pitch. I think the arrogance and the confidence that he plays with, that he carries himself with, it really rubs off on the entire team and the entire club. Because I think for a long time, not Lamine Yamal, but for a long time, I think Barcelona has not been seen as this intimidating side anymore, particularly in between the years of 2019 to about 2024. Of course, we won La Ligas and we had Champions League runs in those times, but everyone always felt as though we can beat them. They're not a great team. Barcelona can be gotten at. A huge change and a huge discrepancy from what the feeling was around Barcelona in the early 2010s. But I think what Lamine Yamal has done in these recent years is not only refound that level on the football pitch for Barcelona, refound that ease of playing football, refound that intimidation factor that teams have when they come to the Camp Nou, for example. But he's also restored the belief in this team. Yes, we didn't go through tonight, but you didn't see any elements of that Anfield performance or that Rome performance. It looked like a side that genuinely believed like they could come back, and they kind of just ran on empty in the end. I can talk about all the positives from tonight, the chances we created. I thought Dani Olmo was really good in the game today. Of course, shooting boots weren't on as they usually are not, but it just didn't work out in the end. But it wasn't for a lack of trying, as I said. Ferran Torres, I'll give him his naming rights back for today. Usually number 7 on this channel. Probably the best performance we've seen from him throughout his time at the club today. Able to drop into spaces, able to create for his teammates. The assist he gets for Lamine Yamal was very quick thinking. But Ferran Torres a few weeks ago probably doesn't get that assist just because he doesn't think about making the pass in time. And by the time he does think about it, it's probably been cut out by the defender. He had a really good role today. And you really have to ask the question, why was he taken off in the second half? You bring on Lewandowski, who's completely washed. We need to get this idea out of our heads that Lewandowski is still an ample resource for goals and an ample striker in this 2026 that we live. He's not. Cut your losses. It's over. He's done. Ferran Torres offered so much more in terms of pressing, in terms of movements, in terms of build-up play. Lewandowski was pretty much a cone out there. I don't know why he was brought on. The second man who came on for him, Rashford, who came on for Fermin Lopez, who had a terrible game himself. Rashford himself was also terrible. And I will say this. If Barcelona somehow believe that 30 million pounds is warranted for this player, I will intercept the bank transfer myself. And that's a promise. I will intercept the transfer myself because this guy is not good enough. We knew after last season you needed backup in the wing areas, especially for Yamal and Rafinha. But guys, this guy is not good enough for Barcelona. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's because the way he plays football, it genuinely annoys me. Because this is a player who's pushing 30 now, and he still plays football like he's 21, 22 years old, where there's still the fine details missing in his game, the decision making, the final shot, the final pass. His touch sometimes is inconsistent. Things that you feel as a player who's been playing for as many years as Rashford has been playing. These are things you should have figured out. You should know the type of player that you are. You should know the type of situations that you should get into. You should know your weaknesses and your strengths. But it's like with Marcus Rashford, it's still the, oh, what if, rather than what actually is. And what actually is really, really, really disappointing. Came on today, had little to no impact. Run at his defender, can't do that. What does he offer this team? I pray Barcelona do not activate that buy clause or whatever it is. Don't do it because this guy is not worth it. Send him back to Man United. Let him go and find out what he wants to do from there. Ultimately, the way Barcelona lost today is the same way we'd all expect them to lose. And many people will ask, oh, why were you so pessimistic coming into today's game? I said we weren't going to come back. I said we'd lost after the first leg because I know this team. The defensive structure is not good enough to win the Champions League. You can have chaos. I'm not saying not have chaos. I'm not saying don't play with a high line. Paris Saint-Germain play with a high line. Bayern Munich play with a high line. But the difference between those teams and Barcelona is they know when to balance it with order. Barcelona don't know how to do that. We go 2-0 up today in the game. It's 0-0. It's level. Settle the game down. Understand that there's still about 70 minutes of the game to play. Atletico Madrid are probably going to come on to you now. This is where you sit back a little bit. What does Barcelona do? Keep playing the same way they were playing as though we were 2-0 down. What does that lead to? The same goal we saw against Paris Saint-Germain, we saw against Real Madrid, we saw against Atletico last year. We saw it time after time after time. The wide player receives the ball, plays it into the center of the area. The center back gets pulled out of position. The fullback has to cover for him. The ball gets played in behind. The fullback is out of position. The winger is free as a daisy. And the winger on the other side outruns Jules Koundé every single time. And it leads to a 1v1 that Ademola Lookman is never going to miss. I said this in the Newcastle game. I've said it throughout the season. Some people were telling me, don't be so critical. The defensive system is why Barcelona is able to score so many goals. And in a league season, that might work for you. But in a Champions League season, this will not work. This is not sustainable. Barcelona now for 15 Champions League games have failed to keep a clean sheet, and you expect to win the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain tonight went to Anfield and kept a clean sheet. And some people will say, oh, well, Anfield, Liverpool are not that great of a team. I guarantee you Barcelona would not have kept a clean sheet today. Barcelona never keep clean sheets, even to some of the worst teams in the world, because they always give you a chance. Even in games where Barcelona are comfortable, you will probably score one. And Atletico knew today all they needed to do was score one. All they needed to do was score one and just don't concede four. And that's exactly what they did. And huge congratulations to Atletico Madrid for the performances over the two legs. They didn't really have to do anything. And this is probably going to sound like backhanded compliments, but Atletico didn't really do anything special in these two legs. First leg, they were really, 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 really poor. Did nothing in the first half. And then they got the red card that kind of swung the game in their favor. They controlled the game. They managed the game. They took that 1-goal lead from Julian Alvarez, and they scored the second goal that killed the game. Second leg, didn't do anything particularly interesting in this game either. Didn't really create chances at will. Didn't really cause much threat going the other way, but they didn't have to. They know Barcelona will give them chances, and the few chances they had, they took the one they needed to, and goodbye. You're out of the Champions League. And it's another year you look at Barcelona once again, allowing the opposition, teams that we are better than. And I know it will sound salty, it will sound ignorant to say you're better than a team that just knocked you out of the Champions League. We are better than Atletico Madrid. Everybody knows this. Even the players themselves know this, which is why it is even more infuriating that you're getting knocked out by them again this season. We are a better team than Atletico Madrid, but those fine details are what win you the Champions Leagues. The red card and the two legs to Pau Cubarsí and to Eric Garcia, those are what wins you the Champions League. The naive tactics, that's what wins you the Champions League. But then also the refereeing in these two legs were just pathetic. Honestly, I'm not somebody who likes to complain about refereeing because, I mean, what can I do? I'm in my house. What's that going to change? But the refereeing in these two legs was so bad. Second leg today, I think Atletico Madrid probably conceded about 20 fouls, and I don't think they got a single yellow card. They didn't get a single yellow card in the entire second leg, despite committing foul after foul after foul. Barcelona concede 1 or 2 fouls and it's yellow cards and red cards. And even the red card for Sorloth. Firstly, you could make the argument, was he even really the last man? Second argument you can make is, did he even touch Sorloth? Because Sorloth kind of clips his legs onto each other and falls over. It reminds me of I think it was a red card that we got against Atletico Madrid, or a penalty Atletico Madrid got against us. Was that 2020 when Carrasco kicked his own leg and got a penalty? It's just, it's despicable. Obviously, over the 2 legs, we probably didn't do enough to win the tie, especially in that second half. In the second leg, I felt the intensity dropped, just as it did in the first half of the first leg. The intensity dropped, but those decisions changed the entire tie. They changed the entire mood. They changed the entire momentum. But it is what it is. We're out. So what are we gonna do? Complain now and tell UEFA, oh, the referee was bad? It is what it is. And then last few points on Barcelona. What does this mean for us going forward? Of course, we'll probably win La Liga this season as our Champions League run ends today. And in my opinion, the season ends today. Of course, we'll win La Liga, or you hope we win La Liga. And people will say, oh, why are you sniffing at La Liga? I can't lie, guys. I've seen this football club win La Liga after La Liga after La Liga after La Liga. I've only seen one Champions League. Of course, I was alive for the other ones, but I've only consciously seen one Champions League in 2015. I've seen probably, how many Champions Leagues how many La Ligas have I seen? I've probably seen upwards of 10 La Ligas. I don't care about La Liga anymore. I need to see the Champions League. And next season, you hope and we pray that this board supports Hansi Flick. I know we don't have the finances of some other clubs, but guys, you cannot be going to a Champions League quarterfinal with Eric Garcia in the defense. Jules Koundé this season has been absolutely scandalous. Scandalous. Alejandro Balde, likewise on the other side. It's only lucky enough that we got Cancelo towards the end of the season to support us in that position, and he's been miles better than Alejandro Balde. But Jules Koundé has been terrible this season, and there's not been anybody to provide competition on that side. Gerard Martin, he's been solid these past few games, but even he's not good enough. Every time Sorloth came onto the pitch in these 2 legs, Martin looked lost. He looked lost. Pau Cubarsí is probably the only reliable player in that defense, but even he looks out of sorts whenever we're playing this highline system. So it begs the question, is it the defense? Is it the attack? Is it the defense, or is it the system? Because Lamine Yamal, you look at the crazy things he's doing on the other side of the field. Please, Barcelona, do not fumble this generational talent. Because we did it with Messi towards the end of his time when we were giving him absolute bums to play with. We were giving him Braithwaite, we were giving him Depay, we were giving him Kevin Prince Boateng, we were giving him Arturo Vidal towards the end of his career. We were giving him Paulinho, we were giving him Vermaelen and Alex Vidal. Support Lamine Yamal, man. Support Lamine Yamal. I know we have players like Rafinha, but support Lamine Yamal. Pedri is doing his very best, even though he didn't have his best game today. I thought Gavi was brilliant today. And you hope he can keep that form up, especially after the injuries he suffered. Player who's gone through so much in his early career. But again, today, I think, in my opinion, you continue to see why I keep saying this. Frankie de Jong is key for this team. Frankie de Jong is key for this team. People act as though Frankie de Jong was found in some random street. We just got some random baller and put him in the side. The guy's one of the best midfielders in the world, man. Don't get it twisted. When him and Pedri are linking up, it's a clinical 2-man step. But that's the most important thing. It's a 2-man step. And I think when Pedri is the one who's bearing the entire weight of the midfield, having to receive the ball, having to drive with the ball, having to pick the ball up in higher positions, having to create chances, having to clean up in the midfield, he can't do it all on his own, man. The guy can do it all on his own. And I think you're starting to see it really take a toll on him these past few weeks. Once again, congratulations to Atletico Madrid for a big performance. They know how to play against Barcelona. They know how to defeat this team. Diego Simeone has figured out Hansi Flick, which is why you would think he would adjust things slightly. But alas, here we are. Just as we were here against Inter Milan last year, we're here again. And the run for the Champions League, 12 years going now, runs on. In the other game, Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool, I didn't really catch this game. Saw a bit of the highlights. Only real talking points for this game, Ousmane Dembélé scoring 2 goals towards the end to basically kill off the entire tie. A tie that was still kind of finely poised up until that point, surprisingly enough. Ekitike going down with an injury that probably sees him missing out on the World Cup, which is a huge shame. Great player who's probably not been in the best of form recently, but you never want to see a great player getting injured. And Paris Saint-Germain, in my opinion, are hitting form at the perfect time of the season. They look so well balanced. The wide areas are so dynamic. They have so many options in the attacking areas, and they're really just clicking into gear. And for me, they're probably the favorites to win the whole competition now going into the Final Four. We'll wait to see who they play between Bayern and Real Madrid, but I'm very excited for that semifinal. I think that semifinal could be absolute fireworks. I expect Bayern Munich to go through, but you never know. Let me know all you guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. What did you think about the games? What did you think about the decisions? What did you think about the performances from Barca, Atletico, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool? And what do you think is going to happen in tomorrow's games? Arsenal, Sporting, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. Champions League is heating up as we approach the Final Four. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, as I said. And as always, take care of yourselves.